Welcome back to JB Sports. I'm your host, Jonathan Burton, and today, you know what it is. It's all about the wrestling. As you can see, we're at a different setup. It's going to be a little different for a little while because I'm not going to have my setup because I'm at college. So we're going to have to mess with the setup, figure it out. You might see some different setups along the way, testing stuff out, but it's all about wrestling today. So we're going to talk about some Raw moments. We're going to talk about some NXT moments and then a little bit of SmackDown because I missed last week. So it's going to be a little difficult to talk about it since I wasn't able to post last week. So we'll get into this though. Today, starting with Raw this week, we had the biggest moment I'd say was Chad Gable versus Uncle Howdy. I think Bo Dallas, Uncle Howdy, whatever you want to call him, did pretty good. It was a pretty good match. There was some good theatrics, like, the Creed brothers coming in, and then near the end, you had the the rest of the Wyatt Six come out and help Uncle Howdy with the numbers game. So you really had a good series of events happen with that to make the match even better. Because with the matches, you want to have you can have a just straight good technical match, but you also want to tell a good story with it. So by selling the story you and also having a good match, it just makes it even better. So back to Raw, there was some great moments. There's some moments where I'm still like kind of thinking about. One of those big moments was Xavier Woods and Kofi not making it to the Intercontinental title for Fatal 4-Way for a chance because you really thought maybe Kofi would get there so Xavier could turn heel on him and that would help Xavier really go into full heel mode because he cost Kofi out of the title, which, everybody is wanting Kofi to get a title and everyone wants Xavier, but one of the biggest baby faces in the company is Kofi Kingston after he won the WWE Championship at WrestleMania against Daniel Bryan that year. So you really see him as a big baby face in any matchup for a title and any matchup in general. So, but putting that Intercontinental title on the line makes it even bigger when Xavier turns heel on him. And I'm really hoping the storyline still happens. I've seen some people talk about maybe Odyssey Jones is the one that turns heel, but I don't really like that as much as Xavier. I mean, it would help Odyssey Jones stardom to do that, but I really think right now you should focus on Xavier and give him some time because the other members of the New Day, the actual members, Kofi Kingston, Biggie, they had their title shots. And I'm not saying that Xavier, like, he needs to get this, like, the WWE Championship because I don't know if I for some reason, a part of me would love to see that just to see how it go. But he is a good mid title card holder, so you want him to maybe get like at least an IC title reign. Maybe somehow goes to SmackDown and gets a US title reign. So we'll see what happens. But I'm really hoping it's Xavier that turns on Kofi, then Odyssey Jones on Kofi and Xavier. So and then other things happened. Bronson Reed versus Braun Strowman. Pretty good match. They're brawling all over the arena. You really have Bronson Reed being like, oh, I'm the new star. I'm the new big man. I can do whatever I want to anybody. I'm starting to like him a little more now. I don't really like Bronson Reed too much for some reason. I don't know. Something just is off-putting about him to me, but he is a very good wrestler. He gets it done in the ring. So seeing him get this push at first, I mean, it came at the expense of Seth, so that's why I didn't like it at first. But he's starting to really get that heelish run. I mean, he did the biggest heel move ever, trying to kill R-Truth. Everybody hates anyone who does that. Then this match with Braun Strowman, very good match. And then the end where he does a tsunami off a wall onto a car with Braun Strowman on it. Like, that was crazy. That made me jump out of my seat. So you're really helping Bronson Reed there with that, push he's doing because people are starting to like it a lot. He's making moment after moment. He's making match after match. He's not making banger and banger after like Sheamus does, but he's doing pretty good in these matches. So you're gonna see him get a kind of very big run soon. I don't know if it's with the title. I really want Xavier to get it out of anyone. I think there's a few people who can get the IC title because right now the push you're giving Bronson Reed, you can definitely see him getting an IC title run. IC, not IC. IC title run. And you just have more people like Xavier who can have it. There's some people in the back. Like, personally, I would love The Miz to get one last, like, important run. Like, I want him eventually to break off from R-Truth, become a monster heel, and have that IC title run like you used to have on SmackDown. Like that one time I saw Matt how he had like that heel promo against Daniel Bryan and SmackDown, like that type of Miz, because that type of Miz, heel Miz like that, is the absolutely best version of him. Hall of Famer. Hall of Fame. So going more into it, there was Damage Control versus, I don't even remember the name of their team. It's so hard to understand it. Is Shayna, Zoe Stark, and Sonya Deville. Me personally, like I like the wrestling from the three of them. It hasn't like it's starting to intrigue me a little more the story, but you're at a real halt right now because all they're doing is like talking about how they're going to win and stuff, and they're just losing. So you're not making them look too credible right now. So it's really just a point of finally making them look credible. Like with the American Made Chad Gable's like team, you have them to lose to the Wyatt Six, but right after this storyline is done, which I think it should be, after Uncle Howdy beat Chad Gable, you put him you put them directly into another type of like feud where it's a stable versus stable, or like probably them versus New Judgment Day eventually when they're done with like the Twin Towers. You put them in a feud like that, get them some wins, make them more credible. It's just we're making so many faction at this point, so many factions where it's hard to have some factions just keep losing because you like them, like American Made. If it's them versus Judgment Day, I love Finn Balor, I like Dom, I like Lord Farquaad, JD McDonough, but I like American Made more. So it's gonna be real tough to have some of these factions just keep losing and make them less credible. Like I like Damage Control over the new faction of Sonya Deville, Zoe Stark, and Shayna Baszler. But if they want them to start having credibility, they have to start winning soon. So it's just really hard to get a faction off going if they just continuously lose, like American Made and the new faction of Shayna, Sonya, and Zoe Stark. So off of that, I don't think there was the other match, Kofi, Jay, and Karrion Kross. I already talked about how Kofi lost, but Jay won that. Pretty good match. I mean, it was funny when Kofi and Jay teamed up on Karrion because they both don't like Karrion. So that was pretty funny. And then, Xavier lost his, which kind of sucked. But going into, I don't think there's too much really more important to Raw. NXT, the main thing I want to talk about is Joe Hendry, Ethan Page, and Trick Willie. So they're having a title match at No Mercy, I believe, is the NXT No Mercy. I believe that's the pay-per-view name. But you have Trick Williams as the special guest referee, which, he just lost his title to Ethan Page in a fatal four-way, which the thing with Trick is you don't know if he's going to help like Joe Hendry at all, because like you're going to see some help. I think Ethan Page does take the title back because I think Joe Hendry isn't. He's over. He's overly over in two companies. He's over in TNA. He's over in NXT, WWE, whatever you want to name it fully. But you see Ethan Page. I think Ethan Page is over as a heel. I like Ethan Page a lot. I like his wrestling. I like his promos. He's a really good heel. So I don't want to see him lose the title just yet. I want to see Joe Hendry with the title. But right now, I think you keep it in Ethan Page's corner for a little bit longer because Trick Williams, I think he should. It's tough though. Like I want to see him on the main roster, but with all these champs, like the IC champ and like bringing Braun Breaker and all these other champions, you got LA Knight, those types. Like it's hard to bring the NXT guys up and give them a moment that keeps them really popping just because of the champions we have now. I think that's the only problem with the champions right now. I think all of them deserve like a longer title reign, but we already went through that once. I don't think everybody wants a 20, a bunch of a few year title reigns for everyone again. So you really just think how it's going to end up with the titles because Braun Breaker is going to be one of the next WWE champions. It's kind of set in stone already. He's a monster champ already. He's a monster wrestler. He's really freaking good. Gunther, he just had the longest IC title reign of all time. I don't want to see him lose the WWE Heavyweight Championship so fast. And then women's Liv Morgan, I kind of want to see her lose it back to Rhea. I like Rhea a lot, so Rhea being champ would be totally fine with me. And then you go back to SmackDown, Cody Rhodes is champ. He just beat Roman Reigns, one of the longest reigning champions of all time. So I don't see him losing really fast. LA Knight, he's just got the title. He's got to hold it for a bit. And then Nia being champ, I want to see Tiffany as champ soon. So all these title holders, like the only ones that I'm kind of okay not having a longer reign is the women's champs. I mean, that could just be because I'd rather see someone else there than the other men's championships, which is true. I like all the people are as champs right now. I like where they are. I like who's champs at which spots, and I think each person deserves the championship they have. So it's really hard to not want to see them have it for a very long time. Or not a very long time, but for a significant amount of time, like a little bit longer. Enough to make it like at least like 100 days as champ, maybe a few months. I don't know. I just want to see them hold championships for longer than people say they want them. I don't know. I just like who's here now. So going off of championships, like I said, Gunther, long one, Braun Breaker, long one. The only one I guess I'd be okay kind of losing sooner than later would be LA Knight. I think LA Knight right now, that's more just not transitional, but it's might be a quick one to really see how he can pop with the championship. I think that's what the US title, that's what the mid card titles are for. You give it to someone who you want to see if they can have good etiquette, they can bring fans in with the lower championship. And if they can bring fans in with the lower championship, there's no doubt they could bring them in with a higher championship. So the main championships. So you really want to, it's really just a check for each one. Braun Breaker, though, I want him to have a long one just because Gunther should have a long one. LA Knight, I mean, like I said, it's supposed to elevate them to have the higher championship. But like the path he's going, the rate he's going, he hasn't really lost too much pop, so he could really just wrestle without a championship and just be in really good feuds for a while before Cody really like has his time. So, and you don't know what's gonna happen between Roman and Cody because that matchup can happen very soon again. So it's really just a very confusing time for championship belts, in my opinion. But it's not up to me. So we'll see where Triple H takes it. So I wanted to go into the next thing, which is more, I guess, not logistical, but like how I see things. Me and my friend were talking about how like Chad Gable and Uncle Howdy were on more of a just like on Raw and not on a pay per view because we're talking about how we kind of want it on at like Bash of and Berlin, and I was thinking about it and I was kind of talking about how like I feel like they're trying to do more like pay per view type matches on Raw, like not to the exact level, but like kind of lower ones to keep you interested. Like this one is the like one of the go home ones before Bash of Berlin. So you have a really good match like they had, Chad Gable and Uncle Howdy. It kind of makes you think, ooh, this match is good. It's kind of crazy. I wonder how crazy the pay-per-view is going to be. So I think it's very smart what they're doing there. I do kind of wish it was at Bash in Berlin because I think they could have even done even cooler entrances. But like I said, you have to have that thing that propels it to the pay-per-view. And a lot of the matches at the pay-per-view are good, which I will make a prediction video for, and I will post it Friday or a few hours before the pay-per-view. So with that, also SmackDown, there's probably gonna be a good match. I don't know what's going on at SmackDown yet. There's probably gonna be a good one. I mean, you have a bunch of stars over there. You'll have Cody versus Kevin Owens, like not like in a match, but they gotta talk one more time before like the championship. Like there's so many matches there that are really important to have that moment before. So, and then going into another thing I want to talk about, it's back to Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston. I'm like I said, I'm very confused how everything's gonna explode between the two, because now you have it as, you know, Kofi and Xavier both lost their match, so you can't really screw the other one. I'm thinking maybe I was talking to my friend again. He said something like Kofi and Xavier and Odyssey Jones have a match, and Xavier gets knocked out or something, or gets knocked down. He's fake hurt, and Odyssey Jones and Kofi like celebrate without him. Maybe that kind of really turns him, and you have like just a match with Kofi and Odyssey, and they celebrate, and Xavier gets mad, because I think really all this is going to culminate with like Xavier eventually having a promo where Kofi and Xavier were doing fine. Everything was great. They didn't have to bring in Odyssey Jones. They didn't have to have this new Big E. They didn't have to have a replacement. I think that's where it's going to culminate eventually, but I just don't know when, and I don't know how the story is going to get there. It's going to be, of course, from a match. That's how it always happens. But I just don't know which match and how the match will be placed. I really do think it's going to be at least a tag team or triple. Uh, it's going to be in a tag team. Like, I don't know. It's just really hard to think of because there are so many possibilities. You know what I mean? So tag team match between with Kofi and Xavier against someone, and Odyssey Jones celebrates with Kofi only. It's really just going to be something with Odyssey Jones. You never know. Maybe there's some strange flip where Xavier Woods and Odyssey Jones become a team, and this whole time Xavier Woods and Odyssey Jones have been talking with each other to kick out Kofi and make their own tag team. Like, I don't think that's gonna happen. I do think right now that kind of sounded dumb after I said it, but like I said, there's so many possibilities, especially so many possibilities with a story that's not like easy to predict. After, because I thought, oh, Kofi's gonna win and Xavier's gonna lose, and then he's gonna screw Kofi, or somehow Kofi's gonna screw Xavier in the next one. Like, I thought it was gonna be that easy. With both them losing, it's back to a gray area. It's back to, oh, I don't know what's gonna happen here. How's it gonna happen? When's it gonna happen? What's going to happen after, what's the storyline's going to be. So I'm really hoping that they're just done with the Final Testament. Like, the Final Testament is a faction I don't really take seriously at all. They don't really win too much. Only person I semi like is Karrion Kross, but Karrion Kross has been basically winning nothing for since he's been back now. He won a match against AJ on SmackDown a little while back, which was like his biggest win in forever. I think he should just go back to NXT Karrion Kross and just be back to whipping everybody. I think that's a little story that fits him best. I think that's his best character, and that he's just not there. But you really just have nothing going for them right now except every week trying to convert Xavier to join the Final Testament, or just go away from Kofi. So that whole storyline will probably finish when something eventually happens with Xavier, because every time the New Day are out, it either has to be against the Final Testament, or the Final Testament is just gonna walk out and say something to Xavier. So it's just annoying at this point. Like, the storyline's good, but it's only because the New Day. The Final Testament do not make it really that good. So we gotta just get that storyline done with and have Xavier, whoever turn. So, and then going into some more news, I don't talk about AEW a lot, but we'll talk about it a little bit. Ricochet going to AEW. I think that's way better for Ricochet, just being that, like, I don't want any hate from this. It's just my opinion. I feel like AEW is way more about getting like 5-star matches, way more about the wrestling, and WWE's more like about the storylines and theatrics. So I'm not saying AEW is bad at all. I know I've seen some AEWs I watched. The stories have been great. Like, The one of the stories I kept up with a lot was Adam Cole and MJF. I think that was a great storyline. So I'm not saying AEW can't create a good story. I'm not trying to spread any hate. I'm just saying AEW focuses on matches being like 5-star more than WWE does. Even though WWE has been putting on amazing matches, they just care about storyline a little more. So I think that's how the two companies are split. Like I said, honestly, Ricochet, amazing wrestler. You've seen the talent, you know what he can do. There's one match Ricochet did that I is like rent free in my head. It's the one against AJ Styles at SummerSlam, I believe, where some of the spots were the one AJ Styles reversed into the Styles Clash. That was an amazing spot. And I believe it's the match where Ricochet was on the top rope and the OC stepped in front of him and AJ Styles. So he literally stepped on their shoulders and then did a Hurricane Rana on AJ Styles on the outside, which was one of the craziest things. It was maybe inside the ring, but I think it was outside. It's one of the craziest things I've ever seen. So there's no doubt that Ricochet can wrestle. He's an amazing wrestler. I don't doubt that. But going more into the charisma side, promo side, I just don't think that Ricochet can cut the best promo personally. So I say being in a company where it's more focused on matches and having good matches is way better for him compared to a company where it's more about promos, more about storylines, stuff like that. And like even if you just got him a manager to talk to him, it would be to talk for him. It would be so much better for Ricochet. It would be amazing. But you never know. Maybe Ricochet finds his voice, finds his theatrics there. Maybe he becomes a way better at promos than AEW. You know, everybody's had those moments. Roman Reigns, he became amazing at promos, amazing at that stuff in his other run when he became the tribal chief. Like, you never know what is gonna be when's the time someone's gonna just click, they're gonna have the light bulb moment when they're gonna find their voice. Ricochet could become an amazing promo artist when he's there. He finds his moment, he clicks. You just never know what's gonna happen. But right now, like I've said before, I think that Ricochet is more of a wrestler and he's amazing at that than he is a promoist. So well, he'll figure it out. And then you just have him going there. And then you have to think about the people in AEW possibly going to WWE. Ricky Starks, I've heard like a bit of rumors that he might be going to WWE after his deal's done, which would be really cool. Ricky Starks is pretty cool. I think I think he had his moments in AEW from what I saw. Like I'm saying, he could add a great feud I didn't see because I don't watch AEW as much as I watch WWE. No hate to AEW, it's just what I watch. And he might have had his moments. He might have not. But personally, I think some of his moments were pretty good, but I don't think he ever had that superstar making moment, which he could have in WWE. And then you have, is it the Lucha Bros with Penton and Ray Phoenix? They're, it's pretty like heavily rumored that they're coming to WWE. They would be great for the tag division. They'd make it. I think if I had them take any like title away from each brand, I think they should go to Raw and take away from the Judgment Day. I think this new Judgment Day, I like them, but I really don't think it's something that is gonna last too long. Personally, I thought I like the new Judgment Day. I think Carlito is the most out of place in a storyline that I've ever seen someone out of place. Like Carlito is just a fall man at this point. He doesn't have too much of a purpose in the Judgment Day, except eating apples and that's cool. Which sometimes it's funny, but he's just losing to Damian Priest and getting beat up by Damian Priest week after week. You know, JD McDonough, I really like how he wrestles. I remember watching him wrestle at Worlds Collide, I think, when NXT UK was a thing. And I thought he was like amazing. So I want to see him get more of a serious role than he has because he's also just a fall man, which you can see he can wrestle. You saw Damian Priest versus that match, him versus Damian Priest a few Raws ago. He did amazing. That match was really good. It was way better than people thought it was going to be. So he can really wrestle. There's no doubt Finn Balor can wrestle. Dom and Liv. I don't know if that thing's it's gonna go on for too long after Rhea gets the title back. I think Dom is still gonna be a heel after, but I would like to see what he can kind of do by himself because he's gotten way better at wrestling. He's gotten way better at promos. He's got nuclear heat. Like that guy, Dom is gonna have nuclear heat for the rest of his life until he makes up with Rey Mysterio. I think that might be like the last thing Rey Mysterio ever does. Either it's the last match is him versus Dom, but I think maybe his last match will be him and Dom reunite and they have one more match together, which I don't know what Ray wants and I don't know what WWE wants, so that's just something I've thought about. But yeah, the new Judgment Day, I don't think they stay together for too long because the other Judgment Day, the original OG kind of Judgment Day, I guess you'd call it. I guess OG would be with Edge. The second one, the best version of it. They had a very long stint, so I don't think this new Judgment Day will last for too long, especially after Rhea and, Rhea's and Liv had their match and Liv loses the title. You got Damian Priest, who I don't think he's a good champion. I don't think he's the best. I don't think he'll get the title, but he can be a very good wrestler for just storyline basis. He'll be done with Dom and him and Finn will have their match, which hopefully Finn wins because I want Finn to have a like major storyline, maybe even a title soon. I think everybody wants Finn to get a title. Finn is so good. No doubt he can wrestle. So I just don't really see the Judgment Day going too long. And then that's why. So what I'm getting at is, I know I went way off track, but I'm saying like Penton and Phoenix can take the title away from, the new Judgment Day. Finn Balor and JD McDonough. Also, I call JD McDonough Lord Farquaad. I don't know if anyone sees the resemblance, but I do. Just that shape. Sorry, but take them away. They can be really good champions. I think they can be good champions on both sides, but the new bloodline is going to have some time. They're a faction that is probably going to stay for longer. Maybe even not. I could be getting that wrong, but from what I see, I think it would be better for them to go to Raw and get the titles faster than to them go to SmackDown and have to wait a million years for the new bloodline versus old bloodline story to commence. So we'll see what happens there. Other news, other than Ricochet going to AEW. I mean, you had Bryan Danielson, got the name right, He won a pretty good. That match was pretty good from what I saw. I saw clips of it. I haven't watched the whole one. I'm not going to really talk about it too much, but what I've seen, what I've heard, it was amazing. So that's good for him. He's a really good wrestler, one of the best of all time. So that was good for him. Other stuff I didn't really see too much, so I'm not going to comment on AEW because I don't want to make any AEW fans mad because that's not my objective here. So, other than that, this has been JB Sports Wrestling Wednesday edition. This is going to be the new setup. It's going to be like a difference between two kind of setups, but we'll figure that out when it happens. But like I said, this has been JB Sports Wrestling Wednesday edition. Thank you guys for watching. I'm your host, Jonathan Burton, and have a good week and watch out for the prediction video in JB Sports Friday for sports. Bye.